Join us now to break down what happened on Saturday and what we can look forward to in November's general election is political analyst Dr. John Hart. Aloha and good morning, Dr. Hart. Thank you so much for stopping by with us.
Good morning.
Anything surprise you on Saturday night?
Probably the biggest thing would be the margins of victory in some of the marquee races. CD1, Ed Case winning definitively. Some people thought that would be closer than it was. Some people actually predicted an upset. For LG, Derek, again, a very impressive victory. And for the first time in a while, we may have a governor and an LG who are actually going to run together and be a team.
Is there anything you make of the turnout? It was going to be the lowest turnout in Hawaii state history until 40,000 ballots came in on Saturday night, and that third printout marked it the second lowest turnout in state history. What do you make of that?
Well, obviously, I think with a lot of the corruption, some people are going, doesn't matter, it's all fixed. But look at those results we just saw. There's still, the election isn't over. There's only one, only four, only 30. So if you don't think your vote count, it does. And by the way, if you think Ozawa and Waters is done, it might not be. I know everyone said it's over. Well, remember, Waters got disqualified by a mid-level judge. That could be appealed to the Supreme Court. I'm not telling our listeners that's going to happen. I'm saying that is an option. And given the history between these two, I could see that happening. So in other words, we could have Waters or Ozawa in the general part, this series that never ends.
Never a dull moment between those two when it comes to elections. I was looking at some of the trends and trying to find some trends in here. Obviously, incumbents usually do well in Hawaii. Yeah. But if you look at some of the incumbents on the Republican side of the ticket, they had strong performances in 2024. Seeing a little bit of a reverse of that as far as their Democratic opponents in the primaries doubling up or more of them in these primaries. I know they're not running against each other in the primary, but when you look forward to the general election, do you feel like the GOP's in danger of getting some of those seats flipped?
Oh, that's definitely true. And I think it was problematic for the GOP at the state level to allow most of their candidates to run against each other. In other words, districts that were relatively red, you had multiples competing against each other. Why not try to spread your candidates out? But I do think there are some safe red districts left, some purple districts that are contested. But if you look at the number of registered Democrats versus the number of registered Republicans, can I put my hand any lower? Yeah, it's going to be tough if the Democrats have a concerted effort.
Yeah, only 10 incumbent Republicans in the state house at all. When you look forward to the general election coming up in November, what do you find most interesting?
Well, I mean, although in Hawaii we say we want change, if you look who we vote for, it's meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Only 4 seats were open, so almost everyone who's running was an incumbent. There was no true open seats. In many cases, the person who wasn't the seated person was the person who used to have the job. And so who are the incumbents here? We're clearly resending people that we've had before. So I think the actual policy differentials in many of these cases is very thin, and they're going to be races based more on personality and character.
You mentioned voters potentially feeling disenfranchised by political corruption. We did have the investigation into Sylvia, Luke, Ryan Yamane, et cetera, as well as those charges that came about from that. We have had bills recently that have taken an aim at politics and money in politics. Governor Josh Green passed the one that really took an aim at campaign finance, et cetera. Citizens United, the Supreme Court ruling, we've talked at length about that. Do you feel like these bills and the discussion around that can do anything to help stem this tide of what we feel like is just overwhelming money in politics?
Well, I think the governor is right. He's willing to sign any decent bill. But in the long run, I think, as we've talked about before, we need to go big. Either Citizens United needs to be overturned or you need to go to public financing. Now, on the other hand, there's calls for a special session. But I think the governor is correct. If you're going to call a special session, you need to have a bill, and I haven't seen a substantive bill that would justify a special session. I would like to see one, but I haven't. So until we get one, we won't see that special session.
Dr. Hart, always good catching up with you, getting your thoughts on the election. Thank you so much for stopping by with us this morning.